with a core team of over 40 correspondents spread across Nigeria.
This is the Otedola Bridge, the famous Otedola Bridge.
We are not here.
Hello, good evening, and thanks for staying on LN 24/7. This is Politics Now. My name is Morno Balagobo, coming to you live from our studios in Abuja. Now, it was a handshake that many didn't see coming. President Bola Tinubu sitting down with Rivers Governor Sim Fubara, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, and the factional Speaker of the Rivers State House of Assembly, Martins Amowele. Yeah, you can see some of the images. Well, the meeting marked the first major public reconciliation effort since the political earthquake in March that saw Rivers placed under emergency rule. So is this peace real, or is Abuja simply smoothing the surface ahead of 2027's deeper waters? Let's have a recall of some of the thoughts shared last night during that meeting.
For me, it's very important that this day has come to be. What we need for the progress of Rivers State is peace. And by the special grace of God this night, with the help of Mr. President and the agreement of the leaders of the states, including our leader, peace has returned in Rivers State. We'll do everything within our power to make sure that we sustain it this time around.
All agreed to work together with the governor, and the governor also agreed to work together with all of us who are members of the same political family. Yes, just like humans, you have a disagreement, and then you also have a time to also settle your disagreement, and that has been finally concluded today, and we have come to report to Mr. President that is what we have agreed. So for me, everything is over, and enjoy everybody who believe to work with us, to also work together with everybody. That there's no more acrimony, there's nothing to say we're disagreeing. We have all agreed on everything. So we thank God. For me, it's a day we have to thank all.
Well, we'll break it all down tonight, from federalism and legality to public protest, and what all this means for Niger Delta, and most especially the Rivers people. So let's bring you a rundown of our talking points tonight. First, we're looking at mediation versus overreach. Has Tinubu resolved the crisis or reinforced executive overreach? And also the Fubara-Wike power tussle. Has real peace been achieved, or is this just a ceasefire? And most importantly, what happens to stakeholders, all those who are rallying around for the president, youth movements, and the PDP Governors court case? What's up with all of that? Well, our guests are live with us tonight. We've got Chetam, Thierry Nwala. He is a lawyer, activist, Pan-Africanist. He joins us live from Rivers State. Good evening, Chetam. Thank you for being with us on the show tonight. Also joining us tonight on the show, we can see you, Claire. Good evening, Chetam. Thanks for being with us on the show.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
We'll come back to you shortly. Zoe Solomon Tamunotoye, developmental activist, also national president of Rivers Emancipation Movement, is also a lecturer. He joins us also from Rivers State. Sir Zoe, thank you so much for being with us on the show. Hello, Zoe. Okay, you would have to connect back so we can have a very smooth conversation with you. Also live with us from the United States, this time from Florida, is political analyst, member of the People's Democratic Party, and former commissioner for digital economy in Edo State. Ifaluyi, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
We're so glad to have you also. It is a full panel tonight. We also have John Schwayub, PDP chieftain. He joins us live from Abuja. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Okay.
Hello, Mr. John. Are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right.
Can you hear me now?
Good to have you with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
We've got an hour to break down this conversation. So let's kickstart with some infographics. We did a timeline from rift to reconciliation. So let's just establish some thoughts before we begin the conversation in full. So let's recall that in May 29, 2023, Fubara was sworn in as governor, succeeding Wike. And of course, in mid-2023, we saw tensions erupt between Fubara and Wike over control of state structures. And then in October 2023, impeachment moves began. Rivers Assembly splits, violence erupts at Assembly complex. And then in December 2023, Tinubu brokered peace deal. Fubara agreed to terms, but the truce faltered. And in March 2025, the Supreme Court orders the reinstatement of pro-Wike lawmakers. But Fubara still insists. And then that very day, March 18, 2025, a state of emergency was declared. Fubara, his deputy, and assembly were suspended. Sole administrator, Vice Admiral was Ibok Ete was appointed, and Tinubu cited the breakdown of law and order as justification for that state of emergency. And then March to April 2025, we saw protests across the rivers. PDP governors, civil society, legal voices all condemned that federal action. And April 2025, the PDP filed a lawsuit against the federal government at the Federal High Court. And of course, 2025, yes, yesterday night, Tinubu met with Wike Fubara lawmakers at the House of Asura. And of course, hindering signs of reconciliation. So let's get down to our first talking point. Let's talk about this presidential mediation. This is not the first time. This is the second time, and both parties look as if they're happy. I wouldn't know how to describe Fubara's countenance now. But has Tinubu resolved the crisis or reinforced executive overreach? Now, the March 18th emergency rule was historic. A sitting governor and his state assembly suspended by a presidential decree. While many condemned it, Tinubu invoked Section 305. Now, 3 months later, he's brokering peace. What changed? The facts, the pressure, or the politics? In the midst of this, the PDP Governors Forum has taken the federal government to court, challenging the constitutionality of suspending an elected governor and legislature. And the case still looms as a critical test of Nigeria's federal structure. So let's begin from the legal angle. Let's have Chetam, Nwala, thank you for being with us. Now, from a legal standpoint, does this peace meeting reverse the constitutional breach of March 18th or simply marks it of what some people are calling political theater? So let's get your response to this development. Hello, Chetam, are you with us? Okay, let's go to Ifaluyi from the United States. Can you hear me? Hello, Ifaluyi, are you there with us? Do we have Chetam with us?
Hello.
Okay,
I can hear you loud and clear.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
So as someone close to party politics, how do you interpret the PDP's Governors Forum lawsuit? And does this new peace render it moot, or is the constitutional question still very much alive?
Well, to start with, it was altogether unlawful, unconstitutional, illegal for the president to have removed or suspended duly elected governors, deputy governor, and members of the state assembly. And several lawyers have argued, on that matter, and that is why the PDP governors thought it wise to approach the Supreme Court for an interpretation of the Constitution. And Nigerians generally feel that the president acted against the constitution, and even if he was going to declare a state of emergency, he did not. He was not required by law to suspend an elected governor who was elected just like he was by the people who truly own the power in a democracy. So that's established. And I'm thinking that the case is still going on because the state of emergency has not been called up yet by the president. But to the meeting of yesterday, for the optics of it, it looks nice that the president, is trying to intervene again, in the crisis that was rocking River State. And to some of us, we see it as uh, uh, a situation of an arsonist, trying to put out the fire he started. There was no reason in the first place for the state of emergency. And so to pretend to now want to bring the warring parties together, for some form of peace, citing an agreement that has been reached, the Nigerian people, myself inclusive, we greet it with some form of suspicion. What are the agreements reached? And in all of this, what is the stake of the River State people in all of this? This is just a power play between two individuals. And then we're worried that in a democracy where the people should matter, what is the stake of the Rivers people? So this really has nothing to do with the Rivers people. It was all about resources and who calls the shots in the state. Yeah, a former governor feels that I made you governor, and so I must decide, to a large extent, all that goes on in the state. It is sad and shameful that at this level of our democracy, we're still having to see this kind of craziness go on, and the president to be posing to be the peacemaker, as it were. To me, it doesn't pan out well in my mind, as it is in the
Okay,
minds of many
let's
Nigerians.
bring in John Schreiber to react quickly. We'll come back to you, Ifaluyi. Thank you so much. All right, John, I mean, you're a member of the PDP. What's the optics here? I mean, it's like 2-0. Wike has won the fight, talking about the PDP challenges as regards to the national secretaryship. And also, I mean, another goal, Rivers' political structure seems to be back with him. What's your reaction to this development?
Well, thank you once again. If you ask any true PDP member, right, someone like me, I will tell you without missing words that I'm ashamed of the party I belong to for 20 something years. I'm ashamed because we don't have PDP is not one party that someone will sit down in one corner and think he owns or can decide the affairs of the party. So if things like that are happening within the parties, within the party, that means that something is missing. Those elected to run the affairs of the party lost it. Are we talking about the NWC? I even talking about the BOT. I even talk about NEC or the PDP Governors Forum. They've already. So if an individual like Wike can be playing games and acting as the lord and master of the party, then it is a shame on those structure, a big shame, because they, in their own capacity, they are leaders of thoughts, they are leaders have wielded political power over the years, and here we are, someone is just there running the affairs of the party while they sit aloof. And you see, that brings us to the question of where internal democracy within the party is missing, which of course we lost since 2015. Maybe because we lost it as to APC, we lost the mojo to be able to, manage things that we used to say is a family affair. As a position, as it is, we're no longer. For me, it's no longer a family affair. It's just a 1 man, 2 man, 3 man show. The Bala triangle, the Makide triangle, the what's his name, Wike triangle, and I can say, what's his name now? Tinubu is an extension of a PDP for what is happening. So that brings me to River State. The River State is like a captured territory. I really pity Fubara when I saw him yesterday. He was on that video. He was looking like a man that had been beaten in the rain, and then he's just trying to seek refuge. He's been beaten, and then oh, sadly, maybe you have to use audio for this.
Okay, I think we'll resort to your audio, but go ahead.
Okay, so now he came out of looking at him, that the generator will come on very soon. Don't worry. So he came looking like someone that had been beaten, and for me, it shows that that man looked like somebody that has been tied hands and legs, who cannot do anything because of power. If I was in this position, or if I'm in this position, what I would do is this: since he says he's not too, tied to the governorship position, I'll resign. Let the shame be on them. Because
so
what happened yesterday,
he has put himself in a weak position. Is that your summation?
Yes.
The fact that he conceded to this deal.
A weak position from all the allegation, that is the alleged agreements. He should only contest for one term. All the assembly members should return back. People that resigned from the party to another political party because the court would throw them out. Wike decided to cause the chaos in there, and you were told that from the alleged agreement that the chairman will be nominated by Wike structure. So what are we talking about? So what we have is an administrative governor, not a transformative governor. Someone that will just go there and probably sign with this red biro after being told to go and sign before you sign. Say, oh, Oga, can I sign this paper? That is what we're seeing.
Okay, John, we'll come back to you. We also have Chetam, a legal expert, standing by. I don't know if Chetam is back with us. Chetam, are you with us?
Loud and clear.
All right. So you're the legal mind in this panel. So you've shared your thoughts, I mean, quite frankly, about how you feel about your state and what is going on between Minister Wike and Fubara. So now he's likely to come back any moment from now. So what is your take?
I must say that it is good that the conversation is now tilting towards restoration of democracy to River State. Now, what we should bother about is not whether Fubara is coming back. It is whether they are restoring back democracy or not to River State. Because the president, like I had noticed on different fora, acted like a dictator, not giving heed to the constitution, went ahead, suspended an elected governor, suspended an elected deputy governor, and suspended an elected House of Assembly. Such has never been done anywhere. It is unheard of. It is only Bola Ahmed Tinubu that will do such a thing in this world. And for us, if there is a conversation about restoring back democracy in River State, we are happy about it. However, at what extent is the democracy being restored? The democracy is restored with conditions we have seen flying left, right, and center, although most of them unconfirmed, which it seems like the governor's hand has been hand twisted, the House of Assembly's hand has been hand twisted, all vision of the president, which is sad, which is unfortunate, which is very unacceptable. We are saying that, see, we are not, we have said time and time again that we're not interested in the governor. We're interested in democracy being restored back to River State. And if the restoration of the governor will restore democracy back to River, that's our interest. Because the president his declaration of state of emergency in River State has destroyed our economy. Has not just destroyed our economy, it has restored back insecurity to River State. As I speak to you, there's serious insecurity in River State because nobody cares about what happens in the states. And the president is just pursuing his 2027 agenda. And that's what all this whole thing is all about. He expects us to applaud him. We cannot applaud him because what he did was wrong. If he's writing he's wrong, we can't applaud him for doing what he knows he did wrong initially, for correcting it. So the president has failed. He has actually destroyed the livelihood of Rivers people, all for his 2027 ambition. And we hear now that they have given the governor condition that he will not return as he will not contest the next general elections. They've also told him that he's going to work with the assembly, and the assembly will not go ahead to impeach him. So it simply means that if the governor mismanages our funds, they have gotten instruction from the president to overlook the constitution, to overlook the people of Rivers State, and not also impeach the governor. It tells you that what the governor, the president has done is to place another form of impunity in the Rivers State, where constitutionalism will not take place, but only the decisions of the president will hold sway in Rivers State today. This is very unacceptable. We do not accept this from the president, and it is a sad one.
All right. We also have Zoe Taminoye still joining us from Rivers State. Taminoye, are you with us?
I'm with you.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us. So what is the confidence of ordinary people, most especially in Rivers State, in Nigeria's democratic process and federalism, just to continue from the talking point being made by Chetam about the fact that, yes, he's happy that the president has reinstated democratic process back into the state, but at what cost? Can you help us unpack the cost?
Yeah, thank you so much, and I'm happy to see Chetam, my very good friend and fellow Riversman. He has been in this conversation and struggle for a long time. He inspires me a lot. Thank you for bringing us together on set tonight. Yeah, like taking from where he has said, from what he has said, the question in every reasonable Rivers person's lips is peace. Yes, we all need peace, and that's what we've been on the street for. That's what we've been speaking for. Remove this illegality you have put in Rivers State and bring peace and reconciliation. That has been, and restore democratic process. These are the three major goals for Rivers people have been fighting for. But this backyard room, presidential parlor, midnight peace, to what end? That's the question now. What kind of peace, and to benefit who? These are the issues on ground. And as it were, remember, the president have taken this path before, where they went to Abuja and they, issue 8-point degree.
Come to that. I was about to come to that, but go ahead.
For the governor to come back to the state and implement. The governor, the Rivers people vehemently resisted that unconstitutional 8-point decree. Even the governor who signed the part, when he came back, he saw the resistance from the people. When that could not work, the presidency manipulated and transmit that script to the judiciary, and the judiciary used it to write their judgment against the governor. When that judicial decision came, the presidency and the minister saw that Rivers people still rally around the governor. They went through impeachment. When they saw that Rivers people were preparing to confront the assembly members with their impeachment move, the president now captured the government, removed the governor, strike the sheep, and strike the shepherd, and the sheep will scatter. Unfortunately, Rivers people did not scatter. They were still resolute and together. So now that the governor has gone again to do this backyard room peace with his predecessor, the FCT minister, and the 27 assembly members who have made governance ungovernable for the governor in the past almost 2 years, as it was instructed by their principal, the FCT minister, when he declared in a church on a pulpit that he is going to make Rivers State ungovernable. The question now is, in this peace pact, have they resolved the problems, the issues that Nyesom Wike raised, which are his structure? He keep talking about his structure. He will not let go his structure. Nobody should take his structure. Nobody should destroy his structure. Has the issue of structure been resolved? On the part of the governor, when he said he is not ready to share Rivers people resources between one man and the state, he is not ready to give his kidney to be to one man to be the governor of the state. Is that breeze don't blow and Fawiyash don't open. All these issues on the part of the governor, have they all been resolved? That is one question to ask in this peace pact.
Hello, Mr. Zoe. Zoe, are you still with us? Okay, I will come back to Mr. Zoe. Well, let's move to our second talking point, the Fubara-Wike tussle, just like Zoe talked about. Recall the last time that they came to Abuja to have that peace truce. How far did it last? So is this something we're going to see again? Because for 2 years, Rivers has seen its most intense godfather-successor rift in decades. The governor fought off impeachment threats. The lawmakers declared loyalty to Wike. Now smiles and nods in Aso Rock, but is anything truly resolved? Okay, let me bring back Ifaluyi. Now, is this real peace or choreographed pause in hostilities? Just like Zoe was talking about, I mean, we've seen this play out before, but if Fubara comes in, do you think we will see, I mean, another side to this crisis?
Well, just like the video you just played, you could see that Governor Fubara was looking very deflated, and one would wonder what are the contents of his thoughts? What were the agreements he reached with the president and his boss, and then what is in it for the Rivers people? Was he looking so defeated and deflated because he could see that he had gone into an agreement that will not benefit the people, or an agreement that will not benefit him, or an agreement that will only benefit one side? That leaves a big worry in the minds of the people. And that's where it is sad. Democracy or governance ought to be centered about the people. But in this case, it's not. But if having this meeting is going to restore a democracy and civil rule in River State and remove the unconstitutional military regime operational in the state right now, that's a good thing for the Rivers people. That's a good thing for the Rivers government. And it's a good thing for democracy. Nigerians were thinking that President Tinubu was not going to miss the opportunity to have suspended the illegal state of emergency on Democracy Day. But as usual, African leaders missed the opportunity to miss an opportunity, which is just what he did. But let us hope that Rivers people are a bit excited that there will be some level of peace, political stability coming back to the state. And let us see in the coming months, will tell us exactly what the arrangements were and how they're going to stick to the plan to sustain the peace.
Well, you seem quite hopeful. Now, let me come to John. As a member of the PDP, we've seen, I mean, waves of defections. I mean, would you be surprised if that is the path Governor Fubara takes on? Or I think, let me rephrase, John. Will it make sense for him to still be a member of the PDP? I think that's the better question.
You know what I would say? He should better go to APC so I will know the president have every right to call him every minute to order. Because there is a difference in governance. We have the presidential, we have the states, and we have the local government. Now, Tinubu have succeeded in emasculating the state structure from Fubara because he's not his party man. If he's his party man giving order, nobody will even worry. But for us as an opposition, we're worried because I cannot expect why an opposition governor will be tied hands and legs to be given order every time. We can never allow such a thing. And it's so disheartening that we have something like that, somebody calling himself a PDP man, yet playing the ruling party game. So what you actually saw yesterday was a complete sale of PDP to APC. And with Tinubu giving orders from, allegedly, from the condition we heard that they agreed on yesterday. So for me, it was a Aso Rock Accord for Tinubu and Wike, why Fubara is just the dice that can be thrown, anyhow they like, the way they want it. Now tell me, I think, was it Chetam that was saying something earlier? Fubara has someone that is an administrator, just like Abbas, who is a military administrator. This one is a civilian administrator. an elected governor with executive power. That has been taken from him. So he needs to take order from Aso Rock and from Area 11, where his master is, before he can do anything. Because what we're seeing, the structure of the state, the assembly men will actually determine what he does. And I believe sincerely that there is no way Wike will want Fubara to surpass him. They will do everything in their power to make sure he does not surpass the achievement of Wike in that state. And what are we talking about? If we're sincere to ourselves, is that democracy? Where are to be entered and what to be done? After all, an undemocratic action was taken by the president some few months ago. Is that what we're looking at? Is that what Nigeria has turned to? Meanwhile, where he ought to have, what's it called, enforced suspension, he didn't do that. We have it in Borno, APC control state. We have it in Benue, APC control state. What happened in Rivers State is actually state capture. State capture. And all this is geared towards 2027. So what are we talking about? So what we're looking at now is APC in Rivers State, but in the gap of PDP, because Fubara is, as far as I'm concerned, is powerless. Is even clueless about what power is all about. So for me, whatever happens to Fubara at this point, I just pity Rivers State because what is going to happen now is they're only going to see a man that his spirit is not in governance, but his spirit is in, let me sit on my power based on the fact that I've been ordered to do it and sit there and make sure I deliver Rivers State to APC. That is what we're seeing. Because there's nothing he can do about his position now. So for me, Fubara is APC, is an APC controlled man. I know we shouldn't play games around that. And I pity Rivers State for it because the way Fubara was going initially, it was going, the right way. But unfortunately, the man's hands and legs are tied and dropped in Aso Rock and Area 11.
I mean, you raised something very crucial, John. Well, let me bring in Chetam to react to some of the things that you mentioned. You talked about governance, which is very important. Now, Chetam, if Fubara comes into power, how do you think that the capacity and that enthusiasm to deliver governance is going to be this time around? Because prior to when he left, we saw him doing a lot of works despite the political distraction. We saw him doing a lot of commissioning of projects and all of that. So this time around, do you think that enthusiasm will still be there?
The point is that the governor is returning back as a broken man. They have not just broken him by the declaration of and his suspension. They have also broken him with all the things they have hung around his neck. Like the last speaker had said, what we have happening in Rivers is state capture.
Hello, Chetam, are you with us? Okay, let's go to Zoe. Zoe, are you still with us on the show?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, so now let's look at governance now for Fubara. I mean, you live in Rivers State. I mean, you can tell us what has been missing so far. I know we have an administrator, but of course, I'm sure he's getting ready to pack out and allow Fubara to come in. So how do you foresee governance this time around?
Well, it's difficult to tell what governance will look like when Fubara returns. But before then, let me conclude my thoughts in what I was saying before the network became a problem. I was saying that in all of these peace parts, the second question is, what is the interest of Rivers people? When the governor went for this peace part, which Rivers people did he consult? And how transparent is that peace part? And how is it going to affect Rivers people? The obvious is that it is now obvious to us that politicians across board, whether the governor or the FCT minister, do not care about Rivers people. It is only their interest, and once their interest is served, that becomes what they think Rivers people want. Then coming back to the governor, a governor who have said that his soul has left the government house. So what is coming back to the government house now is another question. Is it still his soul or his body? Because the last time I checked, the body and soul goes
That's
together.
a very crucial
So
question.
in such circumstances, one cannot tell when the governor comes back, and especially with this badge of conditions that have been placed upon him. He won't be responsible or participate. He will becomes what at the local government grassroots level. He won't be responsible in the statutory appointment of RIFSEC and other appointees in the state. With all this badge on the governor, I don't know what kind of governance he will be able to provide for Rivers people. It is quite difficult to tell at this point in time, both psychologically and constitutionally. The governor has been paralyzed, and I think he gave the room for such things to happen to him.
Go back to Chetam. Chetam, are you back with us?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Now, a lot played out during the course of the suspension, so to speak. We saw Wike. He had a lot of media parley where he expressed, his grievances and his dislike. At some point, he was almost crying. And last night, he talked about the father-son relationship, that the father and son will always fight and then they will come back. I mean, when you look at that statement and you look back at all the back and forth, anytime Fubara had the opportunity to address the media, he would throw a shade, and when it gets to the turn of Wike, he will also throw back another shade. So will you describe their relationship as father and son? Hello, Chetam. Hello, Chetam, are you there with us? Okay. So let's connect back with Ifaluyi-Isibor. He joins us from Florida, United States. So, you've seen the whole back and forth. Anytime they had an opportunity to talk to the media, they always go after each other. So now Wike is saying father and son. But it wasn't father and son before this time around. So how do you unpack that?
Well, for me, I think we should even do away with that kind of politics, where one person determines who will be the governor of a state. Because the father and son thing is as if to say, I'm the father, I made you governor, and so because I made you, we're fighting. The millions of Rivers people had to suffer for 3 months or 6 months, as the case may be, because father and son were fighting. Who cares about the governor or our next governor fighting? That should not bother the people as long as a new government has been elected. It should be impossible for one man to decide who will be the governor of a state when he's leaving office. We must be able to enrich our democracy, because where the people's votes do not matter, but the will of one person determines who will be governor, then that's not a democracy any longer. That's some form of kleptocracy, and I think we should be able to veer away from that. So the PDP, I'm thinking that the PDP should be able to sit down and rearrange our priorities. The acting chairman bothering about the members of the House of Assembly. I think our problems are way bigger than that. If there's going to be a resolution, that will bring peace to Rivers State, that's fine. Let him focus on the bigger picture and stop the craziness that's going on in the PDP at the federal, at the national level. Yes, I think the Nigerian people expect a whole lot more from the PDP. They expect a better, a more viable opposition than we're given, and I think that should be the issue. We're having a crisis of not able to have a proposed next meeting again on June 30th. We're having a crisis where people who are aspiring to run on the platform of the party are in quandary of of their safety. Who's going to sign our forms? Hope we won't have issues in courts. I think the issues that we're having that's bedeviling the party today are too gigantic for him to be fooling around with the issue of River State. I think there's a whole lot more that needs to be done.
Okay, as is our custom on LN24/7, we'd like to engage with our audience. We put up a poll on our X platform asking the very question which will be displayed on your screen right now. We asked, do you believe the Tinubu-Wike-Fubara meeting will lead to lasting peace in Rivers State? And we have the poll results, if it can be up on the screen at the moment, so that we can... Basically, all our audience are not unanimous at all. So let me bring in Shwaib to react to our audience polling. So which are you going for? Or who do you feel is more accurate in terms of the responses that you just saw on your screen?
Peace is relative. It depends on how we define it. For me, there's no peace because there's no...
Hello, John.
Governors. I'm here, Fubara is at peace because he's a man at the helm of affairs. He's a host in his own state.
Howard seems to be having issues with John's connection. Are you back with us, John? Okay, Chetam, are you with us? Let's cross over to Chetam.
The network has been really bad.
Okay, yeah, but I can hear you clearly now. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
What's your reaction to the poll from our audience? Hello, Chetam.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, I can.
I must be clear with you and honest with you. You see, sometimes I really do not want usually take statistics and polls from within this country seriously. But you know, truth be told, the people have their expectations. Both those who are Rivers people and those who are non-Rivers, they all have their expectations of the system. And we want a better country. Generally, we want a better country. We want to move ourselves from this angle of the president is leading us into, because the president is taking us into a one-party state, and that is not the yearnings of the people. But you know, it is like the whole thing is gradually being forced down our throats. And whether you like it or not, no matter what the pool reflects, you ask yourself, it is the willingness of the players that will determine most of these things and how it's going to go. So I'm not totally concerned about the pools, as it were, and I'm more concerned about how do we get to sort some of these things out, because the truth of the matter is that the pools may say a different thing, but of course, when these people will decide to do what they will do something completely different, and that's the problem with pools within this country, because it does not necessarily work in this country.
Okay, so let's move on to our third talking point. We'll come back to you shortly, even as we prepare to wrap up the conversation. A lot of civic response, democratic implications, some of which we've touched on. So what happens to stakeholders, youth movements, and of course the PDP's court case? Now, while leaders met behind closed doors, the streets of Port Harcourt echoed with chants from protesting women, youth groups, and civil society. They marched against the suspension. They demanded accountability. So what happens to those voices? This is a very, very important question. Let's see if we can connect back with Zoe. Now, my question for you, Zoe, is this reconciliation process inclusive of the real stakeholders, women, youth activists, civil society, or just, another elite pact? Because you had people who were on board with Fubara, who were supporting him, who were cheering him on. And, you know, one would expect that perhaps there was consultations with those people. But we saw feelers, you know, from that, I think, Edward Clark's service, where he said, that nobody should disturb themselves. He was practically calling them psychophans. So I mean, what is your response? Hello, Zoe. Okay, let me see if I can connect back with Chetam, because I mean you are from Rivers State, and I'm sure you know a few of those stakeholders who supported Fubara, some of the women who were practically protesting every day, including youths. So what happens to them? Were they consulted before this decision was reached?
You know, a lot of persons, including myself, were.
Hello, Chetam, can you
hear me? A lot of us were on the street protesting. Yes, I hear you now. I didn't get the question. The network has been terrible.
Okay, yes, I'm asking you if they were consulted before he went to the presidential villa to have that meeting with the president.
Nobody was consulted. I can even tell you that it is also possible that even the governor's wife was not also consulted by the governor. The governor just did whatever he did for himself. That's why I told you that all the moves we have made in Rivers State is not in the interest of the governor. Let me state this. I keep saying this. Everything we are doing in Rivers State, we're not doing it for the governor. We are doing it to save our state from the hands of those who are coming to hijack our state and turn our state into a military zone. That is why we are doing it. The protests you see us carry out on the streets, the shouting we shout on televisions and all that, it is not for the governor or the House of Assembly members. It is for the interest of Rivers State, because we know the implication of a state of emergency in our state. We know what it has cost us these past 3 months. We know what we have suffered as a people, the insecurity, the economic hardship we have suffered, and everything it has brought upon us. So we just want it out of our state. It is not about whether it is in the best interest. Let me tell you, the governor is just fighting for his own personal interest. The same thing with the minister of the FCT. None of them is protecting the interests of Rivers people. They never consulted with their followers. They never consulted with anybody. They never consulted with even the people. So what one is, you know, the state agree on what they are not interested in whether we like what they are doing or not. But that being that, nevertheless, we are saying that we are not in support of whatever they are doing, because whatever agreement they have had not in the best interest of Rivers people. So we don't even care. So and that's why you see that they cannot even consult us, because they know if they consult us, we're not going to accept whatever they have done. That is why they will not make public what they have agreed, because they know that if they make public what they have agreed, there will be a large outcry from the people. So they are avoiding it, and they're hearing the just rumors left, but they cannot make it public, because they know certainly that the people will cry out, just the same way they did the 8-point agenda, where the people cried and everything answered. The same thing would have happened. So they're avoiding it. We know them. We know their pattern, and we're not moved by it.
Let me bring in Zoe to respond to this question now. There are a lot of young people who believed in civic protest, who felt the state was being hijacked. So what do you say to those young persons? Because, I mean, prior to this conversation, the Rivers Emancipation Movement, which you chair and you're the president of, put out a statement to say you frown at this development. But what would you say to young persons in Rivers State at this time? Hello, Zoe. Okay, so let's cross back to Peter Shuaibu. Let's have your thoughts quickly, especially when you look at the court case filed by the PDP Governors Forum. John, what can you tell us from the inner circles, your sources? What are they saying about the court case? Will it be dropped? Do you think it will be dropped?
No, the truth of the matter is what we have judiciary, what's it called? Malfeasance, because as it were, rule of law have been captured in Nigeria. So it only goes to the powers that be. That's the truth. Because whatever happens, there's no way. I don't see this judiciary under Kekere Okun leadership doing the right thing when it comes to cases that involves PDP opposition against the sitting president. We can see it is that there's a clear court case in Edo State. We saw it. So judiciary, for me, governors, they are foray into the court to go get justice. For me, makes no meaning, because at the end of the day, judiciary will give whatever judgment without a finality. They will open it up and then give you a vague judgment that you cannot even place your hands on. So for me, going to court is just playing by the game. It's just playing by the rules of let's go fulfill all righteousness. There's no righteousness in what they are doing. Even if the judiciary want to do it, all they need to do is Kekereokun to sound a warning. You better be careful, because that's the state Nigeria is right now. Murder justice has fallen in Nigeria.
Okay.
That's all I will say.
Okay, let me bring in Ifaluyi to give his own reaction regarding the court case and what the PDP will do at this particular time. Now, I didn't give you the opportunity to actually react to the response of John regarding if Fubara should still be in the PDP. So what's your take?
Well, we suspect that part of the agreement that he would have reached, like we're saying his brother governors in the South do, is to jump ship and go to the APC. No matter the sin you have committed, once you join the APC, you become born again, and all your sins are wiped off. So Fubara's sins appear to soon be forgiven the moment his suspension is lifted, and he will likely join the APC. But I'm thinking that the Supreme Court may want to make a statement with the court case. I'm thinking that Nigeria is at a crossroads in a judicial precedent on this matter. Let us really hear what the interpretation of the Constitution will be in this regard. If really a president who was elected can suspend a governor and members of the House of Assembly who were also elected, I think the Supreme Court owes Nigerians that duty to clearly what the Constitution says in that regard. So I'm hoping that the PDP governor should continue the matter, whether the case is resolved politically or not, whether Fubara's suspension is called up tomorrow or not, so that we don't have a president who wants to become a dictator like we're seeing today, who would unilaterally suspend elected government and on his own volition call them back whenever he wishes to, because he has a rubber stamp legislature like we have in Nigeria today. So Nigerians we're tired. Nigerians are tired of the makeup of our democratic system today. Nigerians are tired of it. We're hoping that the PDP and other political parties can come together to build a reasonable coalition that will take power from these miscreants that we've given power to, and let us have reasonable, decent-minded Nigerians who have empathy, who understand the Constitution, lead us into peace and prosperity.
Okay. Before we close for the night, I wanted to get back to Chetam to quickly give his final thoughts. Most importantly, people are calling this elite realignment, Chetam. That's the narrative out there, elite realignment. So how can citizens push back constructively? And do you think that Rivers State belongs to APC under the Tinubu ticket in 2027?
The truth of the matter is this. The president is trying to capture Rivers State and has captured the governor by forcing his hand, declaring a state of emergency and making the people suffer. But I can tell you for sure that Rivers people, or the average man on the streets, is against everything the president has done, does not believe in the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and come 2027, we are going to remind the president the hardship he gave to us by us voting for him. That is the reality on ground, because what the president has done to us, the governor may go PDP. Like I said, we have our conscience, we have our minds, and it is not the governor who will determine what we do in the circumstance. The governor may go to the APC, it may not change anything, but let me tell you, Rivers people are not happy with the president. And if a free and fair election conducted here, and not the jamboree we saw where they hijacked the election and rigged the election clearly, trust me, there's no way Even if the governor comes out to say people should vote for the president, trust me, nobody in Rivers State will vote for PDP. The president
Okay.
will
Because of our
for
time,
APC.
Chetam,
The
we
president
want
will
to
lose
thank you
here
so much for
clearly.
coming on the show tonight.
Thank you very much for having me as always.
All right. So, Mr. Zoe, let's get your final parting shot. What is your own response, and what can you say regarding if, I mean, with all the cards right now, it all seems to be in the favor of the APC and President Bola Tinubu. So what's your reaction to that? Hello, Zoe. All right. We want to thank you, Zoe, for coming on the show tonight. Let me cross back to John Schreiber. Thank you so much for being with us on the show tonight. What is your final thoughts as we close? You've got 30 seconds to do that.
Okay. My final thought is let the average Rivers State people speak come 2027. They can make their decision, get their alignment, do their agreement, but let the people speak and let them speak loudly. And also, President Tinubu cannot capture any state because that is instituting godfatherism and illegality that is totally against the constitution of Nigeria. And that is one thing we must.
All right, John, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. Okay, looks like we lost John there. All right, Ifaluyi, your final thoughts, 30 seconds as we wrap up.
Nigerians are coming together. We are re-energizing, we are re-engineering, we are restructuring to bring forth a new administration, a new government that would not be APC in 2027.
All right, thank you so much for joining tonight.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, what happened in Aso Rock this week may have brought a truce, but real democracy demands more than handshake. It demands accountability, transparency, and a people-first governance model. Is Rivers now a path to healing, or is this the wound just covered for the time being? Well, only time will tell. That's the much we can take on the show tonight. My name is Morno Balagogo, and I'm thanking you for being with us on the show. Do remember that you can follow us on all our social media handles displaying on your screen. You can also visit our website for more reports and insights and editorial stories at www.ln247.news. Thank you for watching. God bless Nigeria. See you next time.